we're jumping right into this, huh?
Yeah, I guess so.
Hey, everybody.
Hello.
How are you today?
We're good. Thank you for asking. We hope you are too.
We watched that movie last night.
Ready Player One.
That's the one, yeah.
We went on a double date.
Oh, yeah?
We had some Mexican food, which was excellent.
Oh, man.
I had flan.
For the first time,
Flan for the first time. Odd.
No,
I like it, but the texture was different and the
weird.
taste is different.
Yeah.
So I kept eating it, and I'm like, I like it, but I'm not sure. But it was good.
Yeah, it's like, I had to have it over the course of several years.
Yeah.
Until I was like, this is something I really like.
Yeah.
Spencer loved it. And
Yeah.
I'd never had it before, and I had the same reaction as you did. And I always get sopapilla, which
None of that.
usually it's a pastry, and they pour honey and stuff over it, and cinnamon, and but like in Tennessee, and this is the only place I've had it like this, they'll fry a tortilla and then put ice cream on it, and then cover it in honey and cinnamon.
That sounds good. Well, that chimichanga cheesecake was really good.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm a huge fan of cheesecake.
Yeah.
To begin with.
It was weird for me, and I think maybe it was because I was going from the cold of the
Yeah,
flan
it was very
to that. It was weird.
Very stark contrast. So anyway, we ate some food, and then we went to the movies.
Yeah, we did.
So in this video, we're going to talk about spoilers in the movie and the book. So if you haven't read it or seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, I guess don't watch this.
I'm Jessica.
I'm Christina.
And you're watching
Game of Thrones. We're a hot mess today.
Yeah.
We had pushed ourselves a little bit to
Get out of bed.
do this. So,
yeah.
you know, sometimes that
This
happens.
is an example of, when if we were by ourselves, we just wouldn't do anything.
That is a very, very good point, yeah.
Yeah.
Because being lazy is nice.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I'm glad that I have you. I wouldn't.
I
myself.
don't think I could either.
No.
Well, number one, I wouldn't have the confidence to do it by myself.
Oh.
But, like, I feel like maybe now I could.
Mm.
Because doing this with you for so long.
Right.
And you've really, like, pushed me and encouraged me to do it. But not even just, like, filming, but the editing.
And talking.
And uploading and talking and communicating.
It just wouldn't be as fun talking by myself.
Yeah, I agree.
Sorry to all
I
you
would feel really awkward.
singles out there.
Hence why we've been doing this for over a year and we've never done a video without each other.
No, we haven't.
Ever. And
This
we've
is
talked
so
about
true.
it like, oh, you could do one, and we're like, no.
Like I could,
No. It feels too weird.
but it just sounds boring.
It does. It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anyway, about the movie.
Okay.
I was so disappointed, you guys.
I know, yeah. Mm-hmm.
There was a part I leaned over to my husband in the middle of it and I said, what a fucking disappointment. And he was like, oh, I thought it was really good. I said, because you've never read the book. So, let me say, in comparison to the book,
Yeah.
huge disappointment. But the movie on its own is actually pretty good. There were parts I was like, but there was some really funny parts as well that I didn't expect.
I agree. Yeah, it was different. And they took out some things that I really wanted to see and that I loved. But for me, I went into it knowing that things were going to be very different. From watching just the trailer
Yeah.
and seeing that race car race, I was like, I need to just go in
Yeah.
and not have any expectations. So that's
Yeah.
what I tried to do. And so from the very beginning, as soon as things started to divulge, I would think, oh man, I wish I had seen that or I gotten to see that. But then I would move on and accept what was happening.
I can't.
Yeah.
I cannot. I don't know what's wrong with me. I do this every time. And I know it's a movie. I know they can't necessarily do everything in the book visually or whatever. I know that, but I don't know.
The worst experience I've ever had with this was through reading and then watching Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. So, that book was so good and intelligent, and it was about Lincoln's life with vampires thrown in, and it was exciting and cool, and my husband and I read it together and had this lovely experience, and we were so excited to go watch the movie. And then the movie was basically the name and the concept
and a whole bunch of action.
And it had none of that awesomeness. That it didn't have that foundation.
Like, it didn't tie in that historical
right
fact with, yeah.
It was just Lincoln kicking some vampire butt.
Yeah.
And so, after being so disappointed with that, I try to just let the movie be its own thing. One artist's interpretation of this beautiful work of art. But you know what? Sometimes it's like, why do they have to change something that's already so wonderful?
I think my biggest problem with it was just that there were a lot of things that were some of my favorite parts, and the way things developed in the book, I thought was just really strong and made a bigger impact than how they did it in the movie. Mm-hmm. Like, he meets Artemis very quickly in real life in the movie. I guess it's not that quickly, but I was just like, what? I liked it a lot better in the book when it was like, oh, she's already in her little area. She'll meet you after, you know.
Oh,
the
yeah!
gate and stuff.
I forgot about that.
I liked that so much more.
Okay, so when they were in Rivendell with Ogden, Morrow, and I wanted to see Rivendell.
Yeah.
And that whole thing was very cool. Instead, it was like they were like in a moving vehicle. That was weird. And he was like trying to get the key in the thing, and
everything was, even the gates and stuff were completely different.
I'm glad they left a movie in there.
Yeah, I am too.
And even though he didn't have to like say Matthew Broderick's lines word for word and act out the movie, which I loved, at least we got to go into a movie, and the whole Shining thing was very funny.
It was so funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
The thing that I missed the most in the movie that was in the book was the fact that he was at school.
Yeah.
And he couldn't, like, he had like the standard issue Oasis that was free, and he can, you know, walk around on his little home planet or his school planet, and he couldn't go anywhere else, and
because he didn't have the money to do anything
anywhere, and his avatar was just standard
generic.
And then he finds it on his school planet, and that whole thing was so cool, and it just
I think my biggest issue, I've already said that, but I think my biggest other issue was the dang car race. I feel like they thought, you know what would be cool?
Yeah.
A car race. Let's do that. And just like threw it in because they wanted to. Mm-hmm. But
I went through those feelings.
Cool,
I went through those feelings back when we watched the trailer. And I was upset about it then.
I was too.
And then, so I was, like, prepared. I prepared myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For that car race.
I do also feel like in the movie, he wasn't as locked into the virtual world as what he was in the book. Mm-hmm. As far as in the book, when he moved into that apartment and he was just in his hat suit all the time and just eating out all the time, and he gained a bunch of weight. He went so far as to like shave all of his body hair and everything.
And then he couldn't enter the Oasis without working out. Remember that?
Yeah.
When he turned himself around?
Yeah, he did like but that to me was like where you could truly see how he didn't exist in reality. He was like so locked into virtual reality, and then Artemis is like, get a grip, dude, you know. And I didn't feel like that was as powerful in the movie.
I loved his transformation in the book.
And I miss that.
Mm-hmm. And then he goes undercover himself.
But I mean, to be fair, there's so much that happens in the book that there'd be no way. I mean, the movie is already over 2 hours. Mm-hmm. So there would be no way you could put...
So even... I really like the movie, and I want to own it and watch it again. But I just... but only because on its own, I like it.
Yeah.
But, when you compare it, there's just no comparison.
Yeah, all the references I feel like were maybe a little more, what am I trying to say, popular? Because I felt like in the book there were some more obscure 80s references, and in the movie I feel like they made them a little more...
Yeah, they try to be as obscure as possible in the book.
Yeah, and I feel like in the movie they wanted to kind of make it where everyone could get it, you know what I mean? Which is fine. It's okay.
So usually I go into movies and take notes when we're going to talk about them.
Oh, yeah.
And I forgot my purse in the vehicle, so I didn't do that.
That's okay. I will say one thing that I did enjoy that I thought was really cool was the way they had Halliday's thoughts and things, like a library, but you could go in and watch it with your eyes. I thought that was cool.
That was very cool. I like that he still got the coin.
Yeah.
He didn't win a perfect game of Pac-Man, but that's okay.
That's okay. The Ogden Morrow thing also kind of really bothered me. Because in the book, he knew about the Easter egg, but that's as far as... Didn't he, like, know that Halliday did that, but he didn't know anything else about it or where anything was? I can't remember if he knew or not. But he ended up getting all the kids together and was like, hey, I'll protect you. Just go play.
Yeah, he saved them.
Yeah, and in the movie it was like, I gave you that quarter, kid.
Yeah. Right.
Also, Halliday was a lot more awkward in the movie than I expected him to be.
Really?
But I appreciated that. Like, after thinking on it, there was, in the book, a lot of references to, like, how antisocial he was and things like that.
I thought he was even more likable in the movie. I thought that actor did a really good job of being, like, awkward.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he did.
But they made the point of saying, like, he was awkward, but everybody liked him. And I was like, everyone hated him in the book. But I liked that. It was fine. One thing I liked was the scene where they are in the sky dancing.
Oh, yeah,
I thought
that
they
was
did
cool.
that so well.
That was really cool. Yeah, I like that.
I felt like I was really there.
Especially when he threw out the disco floor.
Yeah.
And they started doing disco.
Yeah.
That was really cool.
And her fire dress.
Yeah, that was pretty. Have you ever watched the show Broad City?
Yeah, I've seen a couple episodes.
The girl who played H is on Broad City. And I was like, these kids are supposed to look like they're like 17. And I wasn't buying it in the movie. Also, you guys, it's Daito and Shoto. Good grief.
Yeah.
He
Every
was
time
just
they were
Sho.
like, Daito and Sho. And in my mind, I would say, Do.
It was so frustrating. But, see, that's something that, like, it's a name.
Yeah.
Why change the name?
I'm not sure why they did that. Also, he didn't die.
Yeah. I don't remember which one.
Which is fine. Which one died? I think it was Shoto that died in
real life.
I'm not sure, though. I can't remember.
But I'm not opposed to that. And I thought it was hilarious that Shoto ended up being, like, an 11-year-old kid.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's cool.
Yeah.
There was some really, really funny moments. We were laughing out loud. There wasn't even that many people in the theater, but a lot of people were laughing along, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
There was.
So, I think overall, it was a good movie on its own.
Yeah.
And it was visually really cool.
It was very cool.
I really liked when they put on their goggles. And then
VR
went
mask?
into... Yeah. And then went into the Oasis. Visually, I thought that was, like, really cool.
It was super cool. Yeah, I thought they did a good job of making it obvious, like, what an escape it is.
Yeah.
And just made it so cool. And I love the opening sequence where it's one very cool world after another. And
yeah, like there's a Minecraft world. And
that was funny.
Yeah, yeah. And I think one of my favorite parts is when they're driving down the streets and everybody's fighting to try and get this shield down or whatever. And then it shows everybody in the streets in real life and they all have their VR mask on and they're all just like in the middle of the streets, you know? I thought that was really, really funny. Nolan Sorrento was a little different than I expected and pictured, but I thought he did a really good job though.
Yeah.
He did a great job being like a very dislikable
He did, I think.
person.
I missed when he was like, he even said the line in the movie too. He was like, I'll be here. I'll accept if they
fire you.
And
nothing else was ever said about that. But in the book,
he was
they
just
were like,
look, kid. In the movie, he was just like, he started to threaten him after that. But in the book, he was like, okay, done.
Yeah. I missed that too.
Yeah.
Overall, though, I mean, yeah, I really enjoyed it. Just in comparison to the book, I was really disappointed. But after sleeping on it and talking about it with my husband last night afterwards, I was like, it's a good movie.
It was a good movie, and I want to see it again. But I'm sad it wasn't, the whole school thing.
Yeah.
And that Ogden didn't save them and all
like
that.
Transformation, because I kind of pictured
yeah.
him like.
Chubby.
I know it's
Real
the
chubby.
movies.
Ugly. Yeah.
And the movies aren't gonna put a kid with acne and who's overweight as the main character.
Which is lame.
But they should have, because that's what he was in the book.
And then force him to get real buff. For the second half of the movie.
Just get an underage child, stuff him full of sweets, and then make him run on a treadmill and film it. Oh, shave all his body hair as well.
Right.
Parents will sign off on that.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I would have paid to see that. Wow, that sounds terrible. So, let us know your thoughts on the movie down below, and if you've read the book, and if you, compared it a little bit like I did, or if you were able to let it go and let it be what it is.
Let it go.
No.
When you play the game of tomes,
You read or you die.
come be our friends. Social media links in the description below.
And we hope you're reading a great book.
Bye.
Bye.
I hope we did an okay job of this.
I think that's gonna be okay.
Lost, what felt like it all in a game. Every man I've measured died to hurt me before I could ever feel safe.